Well, good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to discuss the infamous Harley Davidson leak. Not that one. That's water. That one. Right there. That's oil coming from the rocker box. This is a 2008 Harley Davidson Sportster 883, and it has earned its Harley Davidson badge. Finally, it has its first oil leak, leaving its mark. Alright, I've got all my parts in. While I'm doing this repair, I'm also going to go ahead and change my oil. So I got my oil filter that I need. Since I'm going to have to take out these spark plugs, I went ahead and got myself some new spark plugs. And these are all my gaskets that I'm going to need for this particular repair. It is the Jingle & James. It does go for my particular Sportster, a 2007 to present. Mine is a 2008, and it is for an 883. So everything should fit, and make sure you got your parts before you even start. I've had to wait a little while because of the rain and everything, but make sure you got those parts. Before I start working on these rocker boxes, I must take off this gas tank. To get the gas tank off, I need to take off the seat. To take the seat off, it'd be best to go ahead and take off the sissy bar. To take the tank off, there are 3 components that I must take off before I even think about unbolting it. Those 3 components consist of the vent, right here's the vent, the fuel line. Need to take the fuel line off. All you do is you push this up, it pops out, pull this down, and then right here on most Sportsters, I think it's 2005 and later, you'll have this electronic fuel pump. You need to disconnect the fuel pump, and that's that wire right there. Then I can take this piece right here, my side cover, open up my maxi fuse, unplug my maxi fuse. If I unplug this maxi fuse, I should not have to unplug or mess with this battery at all. Alright, now that I have the tank off, I'm going to take these 4 bolts off. It does not require a whole lot of torque to take them off, so you can take them off with just an Allen key. There's 2 here, and then there's 2 right over here. Now you'll see that these are not easy to get to over here. As you can see, right there's another one. As you look closely, I'm not able to get a ratchet inside there. So I'll just use an Allen wrench. Taking off all 4 bolts. As you can see, I had to loosen up my ignition switch and where the spark plugs go into, the spark plug wires. Inside here there are some little washers, little gasket washers. Your kit should have replacements for those. You'll need to take the cover off. Now the cover may be stuck. You can give it a little bump and it should come right on up. Give it another little bump. Eventually it'll come on up. May need a little more persuasion there. There it is. It's right on up. Alright, went on ahead and put the jack underneath the bike, jacked it up just enough to where I can move this tire. You need to be able to move your tire so you can get top dead center. You see that I put just enough where the tire is free. While taking this rocker box cover off, I had to go ahead and loosen some of this. I took the spark plug wire off. I also found that it was a lot easier if I lift one side, slide it back a little bit, and then just kind of slightly jiggle it out. When you're moving this back tire, you want to watch these little rocker arms here. Okay? Watch those. Your rod is going to push them up, then they'll push them back down. They'll push it up, they'll push it back down. Okay? This is your intake, that's your exhaust. As that rocker arm gets pushed up over there, it's going to push this valve down. And as this rocker arm is pushed up, it'll push this valve down. Those valves are down. When you're taking this off, you run the risk of bending these bolts and quite possibly damaging these valves. So try to get this at top dead center. I've got a straw here for my brake clean. I'm going to stick it in there. As you can see, I'm almost at top dead center. I very well could be at top dead center. But I'm going to give it one good full revolution one more time just to make sure. Another way you can do this is to stick your finger over this hole. If you stick your finger over that hole, you should feel suction as the piston is going down. You should feel it blowing as the piston is coming back up. Alright, I've got my wife here helping me out. She's going to move the tire as I watch this rocker arm and this rocker arm. This one just went up, came back down. This one's about to go up and come back down. Right now, you can see my straw can't go all the way. It goes all the way down. So my piston's pretty low in the cylinder. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and give it a turn. Can you get it? All right. Keep on. She's moving that tire ever so slightly. Alright, this one's coming up now, and it's pushing down here. That arm's going up, pushing this valve down. Go ahead. And as she's doing that, you'll see that this is down even deeper. Alright. Keep on. Alright, hold on, stop. Piston came up real quick, so don't put this in there. It might catch on that piston. if lower this down just a hair and see how far I need to go with it. Let's see, that's up again. That's down. Alright, I'm going to bring it up. Alright. That should be... Oh, now that this arm's going up. That one's going down. Let's go backwards with it. Because I was at top dead center. I think you had it at top dead center. Alright. It's just a very slight movement. I think that's it. That looks like it's a little high. Put that down a little bit. That looked a little high there. There we are. We're at top dead center. Alright, this time I'm going to take these little Allen key bolts off. They've got a little bit of oil in them. A little oil on them. They've got a little bit of torque to them. It's only an inch-pound. I've seen a lot of videos where guys will say when they start to put them back on, oh, I'm just going to tighten this by hand. I seriously would tell you, go ahead and use the inch-pounds. Your tightening by hand may be a little bit stronger than what you think it is. And this is aluminum. You can very well crack that aluminum. As you can see, this is not going to fit. I'm going to have to go to an Allen key. Either that, or I could remove this entire bracket here. I'm going to go to an Allen key. These are just 3/16. It's the same that should be for your air cleaner. The same that was for the rocker box cover. You see that broke that torque on there. Okay, this time I'm going to take these 3 bolts out. This 1, 2, 3. This one back here is going to be kind of a hard one to get to. I've got a 1/4 inch drive here. As you can see, it doesn't really fit on there very well. I've got a lot of, don't have a whole lot of room to play with, but I'm going to try to break this torque that's on there. It really shouldn't be a whole lot of torque on there. But break that torque. Okay, I broke the torque on that one. I'm going to try to break the torque on this one. And a lot of guys like to use a 7/16 on this. I'm using 11mm. It fits a little bit more snug than 7/16. Okay, if you don't have a swivel or you don't have a 1/4 inch, believe it or not, you can get a 3/8 inch in to these. It's just very tight, but they will fit in there and they will work. You just won't have a whole lot of room to work with, but they will get in there. Of course, it does help that I loosened this entire wiring harness up. That may be the reason why some folks have such a hard time doing this particular repair with a 3/8. Do know that there are washers here. These are not flanged bolts. They are actually washers. I'll show you in just a second when I pull this one out. 7/16, 11mm. Both will work. This is a washer. This is a washer. We'll see how it is on the other side. See if it's any easier to get to that bolt from the other side. And as I suspected, it's about the same. Just the same old booger as it was over there. It's not loose enough yet to where I can take it out by hand. There might be a little bit more room to play with over here when you use a 1/4 inch drive. I think I may start using this side for this particular one. Now on this side you don't have any room whatsoever to play with, so you'll definitely need to take that bolt off on the right side of the bike. Not sure why in the world Harley Davidson decided it would be a good idea to stick all this wiring underneath an empty tube. Just stick it inside the tube, Harley. It'll make things a lot easier for those of us that wrench on our own bikes. Alright, I think it's now loose enough. Alright, if I can get my big old fat fingers in there. Oh, the wonderful sounds of a Saturday morning. Airplanes, helicopters, lawnmowers, everywhere. Also, a great thing about doing it in a carport rather than in a garage, you get to hear the birds, you get to smell the fresh air. Most of all, a nice cool breeze that's coming through, because most garages do not have air conditioning. Thank you. Oh, I smell food.
Yep, bacon and biscuits.
Yes. Bacon and biscuits. Okay, well that takes care of those 3 bolts, the other 2 bolts. Now it's time to do these 2 bolts right here. And you'll have to do those a 1/4 of a turn at a time. These should be 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. Not 13 millimeter. What you want to do is you want to take it about a 1/4 of a turn or 1/8 of a turn. I'm going to grab my breaker bar. I'm going to break the torque with, that's about 1/8 of a turn. I start here, I zigzag over to here. I'm not going to be able to get a big old wrench like this inside that spot right there. So I'm going to grab this box end wrench and go ahead and break this. Now I can come over here to this one and do the same thing. And it's a zigzag motion. I've broken this one, I need to break this one. Alright, now they're broke. I'm going to 1/4 turn. 1/4. Come over here. 1/4. Over here. 1/4. Over here. 1/4. Back here. 1/4. Back over here. 1/4. Zigzag. Zigzag. X pattern. What you're doing is you're taking that spring pressure off of those valves. By taking the spring pressure off those valves, you want to do it evenly. Don't do it evenly, you run the risk of breaking these bolts, breaking a valve, messing up your rods. Alright, here's a little tool I like to use sometimes when I can't get into a tight space. It just goes right on in there just like that. This is a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to be able to get over there hopefully and do that other side a little bit easier. Now, just so you know, I've got this for free doing a charity ride. We always had the raffles and the door prizes. This was actually a door prize, so you know, get out there and ride. Okay, I'm going to see if this will work. Yes, it will. Look at there. That's that tool I got at the charity ride. It's perfect for this application. Alright, I've already got the other side off over here. I'm going to go on ahead and take these off. They're loosened enough to where I can take them off by hand. There's one. There's two. Now when you do this, there's a possibility you'll take this little ring here, or this rod, and there's a good possibility it might turn. If it does, that's okay. You'll just have to make sure you turn it back. If you don't, you're not going to be able to get that bolt back in there. And you will smell a nice, beautiful, oily smell when you take those two bolts out. There is a definite scent. Alright, now, ooh, it's stuck. How do I get this off? You can take a rubber mallet, or you can take your hand. It's probably best to just go ahead and get a rubber mallet. Do not use a metal hammer. Just give it a slight tap, slight tap, slight tap, 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 tap. It's broke. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on these. And as soon as you get it broke off, you'll see that there are two rods here. Now, you may wonder, what's the best way to get this off? I took the head off, or the cover off over here on this side. But I've got these two rods. Now I've seen guys, like I said on YouTube, they've done it both ways. I've seen guys that'll take these rods actually out. And I may wind up doing that, because I do have two bolts over here. They may get in the way. But I did manage to remove quite a bit of stuff over here, or loosen a lot of stuff over here, so I'm going to utilize the space I have. Okay, now that I've done this, you want to just lightly clean this up. Clean all the oil residue off, and you know, get as much out of there as you can so you can have a clean surface. You'll see there's a lot of gasket residue left on here. Lots of gasket residue. There's some Loctite residue. Oh, look at there, some dirt dauber. Okay, again, if you don't have a garage, sometimes you gotta work with what you got. That includes dirt daubers, especially here in Georgia. You're gonna get them. Okay, I scraped off all the residue of the gaskets. The way I do that, I don't do it this way. I hold it this way and bring it backwards. If you do it this way, you might dig into this aluminum head, and if you dig into that aluminum head, you're going to ruin it. So just scrape it this way, very lightly. You don't want to scratch this this head. Top of this rock, top of this head, where it meets the rocker box. You don't want to scratch that. Right in here, you can't really get in there with a something like this. Do not use a screwdriver. Just get some brake clean and a clean rag. When using brake clean, go ahead and put on your eye protection. Last thing you want is for this thing to squirt back up into your eyes. It doesn't feel very good. It'll burn just a little. Okay, what I have here, so I've got the original gasket. This is the Harley gasket that came on it back in 2008. I took it off. It was not easy to get off. Do not try to pry this off with any type of tool. Just work it slowly with your hands. As you can see here, I've got a lot of residue left off. A lot of this can come off, like I was saying, with your fingernail. Go ahead and see if you can get as much of it off with your finger. Your fingernail's a lot softer than a razor blade. So see if you can get that off with the fingernail. Now this is aluminum. So you don't want to be going in there and taking something like this and digging deep in there. Also, whatever residue that you get off of here, make sure it doesn't get inside any of these key parts, or it's going to be all in your engine. As you can see, right here is where I had my leak. It was happening right here. This is very common right there because the head, or this box, sits at the lower end right here. Okay, so that's where the most common leaks are on these rocker boxes. Put a little brake clean on there and just make sure, again, wear your goggles for these. I know a lot of guys don't do this, but I've had this in my eyes. It don't feel good. I'm not telling you that because I'm all safety. You know, I tell you that because I learned from experience. Some things you just don't want to ever happen again. Brake clean in your eyes is one of them. Just like transmission fluid in your mouth, and you know, there's certain things. Like I said, you can see right here, there's all this leftover gasket stuff. There's also these gaskets right here. You're gonna have to pull these gaskets right here out. There's a gasket inside here. In a moment I'll show you how to get all that out. But even though it is Saturday, I gotta go back to work in just a minute. I had to go to work at 7 o'clock this morning, got off at 9. Now I get to go back to work again. So when you're working on and off on your bike like this, like I do, I work when I have time. Just make sure you cover up any parts that you would have, just in case a bird may come over and poop on it. I am in the open air, or in case if it decides to rain. I won't use this gasket again, so I may go in there and grab a little tool to help me get this gasket out, because I'm not sure which gasket it was that was actually going bad, because there is a sign of maybe some leaking here and some leaking here. There's definitely a sign of leaking right in here. I'm not sure if it was because of this or if it was because of that, but either way, it was leaking. I'm going to get a new gasket. Okay, I got myself my little pick here. Do not dig into the metal with this. Just go directly into the rubber. Take it right there and just pull that rubber up. After you got it up, put that tool down. You don't need to use it anymore. I got fat fingers, so I can't really hold things very well. Pick that. There's that funky looking gasket. Just stick it over there. There's another gasket right in there. We'll get that one out. I believe that's a T25. I'm going ahead and remove this little piece here. This is in there pretty good. There we go. Hear that brake. I'm not sure if there's any torque specifics to that. That's the reason why I have this handy little. I'm going to lay that off to the side. Look underneath it. You'll see that there's this little filter here, okay, you're not changing that out, okay? That's just a little filter. But what you are going to change out is this little guy right here, okay? That goes to your breather. That's trash. All right, like I said, I gotta go back to work. I got to go earn some money. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick a paper towel over this and just make sure that it's, and this is lint-free shop towels. I'm gonna take about 4 sheets of it. Fold them over. Take these 2 tools off of here. Lay 1 tool there. Bring them a little bit closer together. Lay a tool there. Lay a tool there. Alright, good to go. Go ahead, if you're using one of these and you walk away, go ahead and turn it back around. So little fingers like my daughter's doesn't come up here and play with it and say, ooh, what's this cool thing? And slice her finger wide open. Alright, I will see y'all when I get back from work. Okay, when you're putting your gasket in, you're going to need to make sure that you've got the gasket hole right there, because that's where the breather goes. So looking at your gasket, I've actually got a hole on either side, so it doesn't look like it matters if this is top or if this is bottom or if this is top. So I'm going to go on ahead, lay my gasket on in there, see how it looks. Do all the holes match up? Now I'm going to flip it over and see if it matches better the other way, just to make sure. Okay, now I'm about to put the rocker box back on. I'm not going to put it in this way because it's larger here than it is here. So I'm going to go to the other side and put it in the other way. While I'm doing that, I got to make sure that these holes stay lined up. There's a good way to do that. Just stick your finger at the edge over here and they will stay kind of lined up a little bit. And I have finger tightened these bolts on. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to do about a half turn to maybe a quarter turn, doing a crisscross method. There's a half turn. I'll go to the other side, half turn, come up here, half turn, until I get to a point to where I feel like I need to go on ahead and start the torquing process. But this has to be done in this fashion. This may take quite a few turns to do because there's quite a bit of pressure on these bolts. Okay, I got my torque wrench set to 18 to 22. I went on ahead and set it to 20. It says 18 to 22 foot-pounds. I'm only going to do a little bit at a time on each side. I'm still going to do it at the crisscross pattern. Until I hear that click. Alright, there went that click. Click. Still no click. There went that click. This one ain't. Alright, next I have these 3 crazy little bolts. I went on ahead and put blue Loctite on them. I'm gonna get them in there, get them kind of started by hand, making sure I don't cross thread. Stick this guy. Ooh, he goes deep in there now. There he is. That might be a little difficult to get to.
Hey, now, darling, you wanna go down to the river?
Okay, I've got my torque wrench here. It is set for 135 foot-pounds, or inch-pounds. Do this one. Alright. Get in there and do this one a little bit. Alright, no click yet. This back one might be a booger. Alright, that one's torqued. Let's torque this center one. Let's see this front one. And torqued. Torque. These little bolts back in there. Hand tighten them bad boys. Just get it finger tight. Make sure it's sitting up there right. Alright. Go ahead and put blue Loctite on those. Alright, well I finally replaced those gaskets, put that rocker box back together, and put the tank back on, the seat back on. Now I'm doing a test ride just to see what it feels like, see if I hear any strange noises coming from the rocker box. I also did a oil change, and I did change out those spark plugs. This repair took me nearly 3 days to do. I started it on Friday afternoon after work. It started to rain, so I had to tarp everything. I got up early Saturday morning, gave it another go at it. I had to go to work, so I put the tarp back over it. When I got off work, started working on it some more. Then I had to go back to work, so I put the tarp back on it. And then after I was all done, my daughter said, "Daddy, let's go fishing." So yes, I stopped again and went fishing. So it's Sunday morning now, and I finally get to test ride this. Alright, well if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified when new videos come up. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave some comments down below. Any suggestions? Do remember, I am not a certified Harley technician. Do read your manual, and make sure if you're going to do something like this, watch plenty of videos, watch the folks that make the mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and watch those that are professionals that have been doing this for many years. Until next time, ride safe and always get back home.
Some say love is a game give and take. On the day I met you, baby, whoa, 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 how my world did shake.